If you're 5'4" and shorter and you're going through menopause or perimenopause and you're struggling with weight loss, excess fat or bloating around your midsection in particular, this video is for you. There is a reason why short women experience menopause differently, and today I'm going to break down the science behind why and give you some science-backed tools that you can use to actually start to break through this plateau that you've been stuck in and start feeling better and start seeing the fat loss that you want to see. I will be citing some research from Andrew Huberman, some other experts, doctors, scientists, in order to help protect your hormones and your metabolism, and most importantly, your sanity. My name is April Whitney. I am the founder of Petite Power. I am a certified nutritionist and certified personal trainer, and I specialize in helping petite women in particular feel amazing, lose weight, and eat more food. I have helped thousands of petite women navigate weight loss the healthy way over the last 8 years, and I am always excited to share it with you on this channel. So if you like this channel, if you are petite yourself, please comment below, say hi, and subscribe. And no matter what walk of life you're in right now, I want to invite you to something special I created for you. It's called 75 Petite, and it is a 75-day plan and accountability series to help you get the most out of the last 75 days of the year, which, believe it or not, that is how many days we have left in the year. So you can join us in this challenge below. So for starters, you might be looking at me and thinking, I wouldn't really know a thing or two about menopause, and you would be right. I'm 33 and I have yet to go through this chapter of my life. However, it is my job to look out for the health of petite women, and with the over 3,000 petite women we've helped in our programs, probably a third to maybe even half of them have been quite a bit older than me and gone through menopause, hormonal changes, perimenopause, anything around these types of hormonal changes that happen in a woman's body. So I've had the honor of learning directly from coaching them and working with them, but also, of course, from our expert team of registered dietitians for petites and nutritionists as well. So while I may not be a doctor, and I would never claim to be, you can kind of think of me as sort of like your petite health mentor who helps synthesize a lot of different information and science and look at how it actually is impacting you, and specifically, how do we make petite specific recommendations that actually get you results, because that's just not out there. That information is nowhere else that you can really find. And also, I got to sit down with one of our petite elites, her name's Meredith, and talk about how she dropped 10 pounds going through menopause. She turned 60 this August, and that will serve as a really amazing case study of how you can apply some of these real things I'm going to teach you in this video and actually see some real weight loss, no matter the menopause period that you are going through right now. No pun intended. In any case, it'll be a real case of a petite and some of these things that we'll talk about today. So let's get into it. We have to understand what is happening to your body during perimenopause and menopause. Perimenopause is the transition that happens before menopause, and it can happen as early as in your late 30s. Menopause itself is when you go 12 months without a period, and after that point, you are considered postmenopausal. So it's during this transition that your hormones, estrogen and progesterone, drop. And this impacts a bunch of things: muscle mass, bone density, metabolism, sleep, fat loss, a lot of stuff, right? So when it comes to petite women, because we already have smaller body mass and less muscle tissue overall, these hormone shifts hit us harder, and the metabolic slowdown that you're feeling is actually proportionately bigger, essentially. In other words, these hormonal shifts can actually feel more dramatic on your body because we have less muscle to begin with, and daily calorie burn is also lower to start as well, just because we're smaller and more efficient. So when your hormones change, there's less buffer, meaning these fluctuations can create bigger swings in mood and metabolism, for example.
You know, we live in our bodies and we're used to kind of the inputs and then the results that come out. And so menopause, just none of the things. Like, I could reliably, like, oh, if I eat this way, if I change my movement patterns to this, I'm going to kind of have a result in my body and I'm going to feel a certain way. And this is like, oh no, like any button you push, I just felt like, oh my gosh, no matter how cleanly I eat, how, what I do for a workout, my body is just this mysterious black box, and I'm going to be hot and sweaty. And let me tell you, the hot flashes like glasses steam up. Like I wear glasses a lot of time, and like your glasses steam up. Like you turn red. Like if somebody's near you, they feel the furnace.
So I feel like just from watching petites go through this and looking at the science and the hormone drops relative to what other taller women may go through, I think petites may just feel it a little bit more, in other words. I'm curious if you are menopausal or perimenopausal, if that resonates with you. Let me know in the comments and we can see if we have more anecdotal evidence of this experience among petites. I'd be curious. Meredith actually had a really good way of describing this. She described her body going through menopause as a mysterious black box where everything that used to work to lose weight was no longer working for her. And I think this is naturally what a lot of women will feel in menopause, but also as petites, I think we feel it almost more so, right? So why do we see so many women gaining weight or struggling with weight loss during these hormonal changes during menopause? It has to do with estrogen. So the hormone estrogen, it helps regulate how your body uses carbs and calories and stores fat. So when estrogen levels drop, something called insulin sensitivity can also decrease, which can lead to basically just making it easier to store more fat around your midsection. There's also a couple other things happening during menopause that are not working in our favor. For one, we start losing muscle faster around this time. And as we know, less muscle means we have slower metabolisms. And of course, if you're petite, say you're 5'2" and your BMR is 1400, losing even 100 calories from that can seriously make the difference. And specifically, I'm speaking to losing those 100 extra calories burned from having that muscle mass on a daily basis. And that's kind of why what worked in your 30s is not working now, because like the math has changed, the equation has changed now, and the numbers are not the same as they used to be, metabolically speaking, and with your hormones as well. Something I really like from Huberman and sort of a frame that he uses to help us see this as not just like a big effing bummer, but something empowering, is that menopause isn't a punishment that requires more restriction. It's about recalibration. You just have to learn the new math for your body as a petite and start making it work in your favor, because this recalibration is sort of a metabolic and a neural change that's happening all over your body. It's not your body failing you, but once we can understand it, we can kind of work with your biology instead of against it and keep trying old things that aren't working anymore. Let's talk about nutrition for you going through menopause. This is a big one. And you already know I am the queen of helping petite women eat more food and increase their metabolism and see significant weight loss, not just take things away. It's going to be even more important for you in menopause.
I wanted to lose weight, did that. But also I just had my annual physical and I have dropped 5% body fat. So like 29% body fat to 24% body fat. And 25% was my goal. So that's like, oh my gosh. And something that I didn't plan for is this idea of reverse dieting. I'm eating 1,800 calories now. And it's like, I can't, it's just, I can't believe it. That flexibility has been amazing, and an education and feeling fueled, but also trusting my body and at different caloric levels. Again, nothing wide swinging, it's all been within a fairly narrow range, but, tweaking macros a bit and what it does for my energy levels.
And some experts that I'll cite here: Sarah Gottfried, Mary Claire Haver, and Stacy Sims, all were on Huberman's podcast at one point, will all vouch that you should not undereat when you're going through menopause. They talk about how extreme crash diets and intermittent fasting, anything restrictive, is going to increase cortisol levels, which is stress, and decrease metabolism, especially during perimenopause, which I thought was interesting. And it's not going to actually help you to be in a severe deficit during this time. Here's the key: for petites, your margin for error is tinier, right? So you need enough calories during this time that you support muscle retention and you don't lose muscle, but not so many calories or the wrong kinds of calories that you stall your progress. And that's where a lot of petite women get it wrong, because it is hard.
So I'm curious to hear, what were the biggest nutritional changes you made that would help someone who's kind of maybe old advice you would give to Meredith a year ago? What are the nutritional things that made the biggest difference for you?
Certainly adding fiber, being really aware of the fiber portion of things. I would skip food, skip meals, eat irregularly, and then sometimes be like, oh, if I'm going to have something special, I'm going to eat that alone and instead of. And now it took me a while to be like, no, 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 have that, balance with that, have your meal and the cookie. So I was eating fewer calories more erratically and not in as balanced a way. Like I had gone like too light on the carbs, so I had low energy in it. And when I did have carbs, it just impacted me more. It kind of put me on a more of a like crash of like, like, oh my gosh, now I'm falling asleep because like I'm coming down from that cookie.
So I want you to focus on your macronutrients, especially if you're someone who never really looked at what is actually in my calories, not just the total number of calories, but what are these calories made up of? And start with your protein. Protein during menopause and perimenopause is going to be the most important thing you can do, because you need to build muscle and you need to retain the muscle, because you're going to start losing it later as you age. So having at least 1 gram per pound of body weight. I know I say that this is true for any petite, but it's especially important if you are in this phase of life and going through these hormonal changes, so that you don't lose more muscle mass and decrease your ability to burn more calories at rest naturally just by having muscle. So have at least 100 grams of protein a day as a petite and start tracking that. Number 2, carbohydrates. I would also say it's not enough to just track your calories and your protein. You need to look at your carbohydrates in this time of your life, because the window is just getting more and more small. So you need to be more and more precise. And there is a learning curve at first, but then it gets easier. So with your carbs, it's not that you need to eat less. You need to eat more carbs that have fiber and more carbs that are slow digesting and take up more volume in your stomach, like the vegetables, the legumes, the fiber that's going to keep you full. And the third thing, fats. Fats are the most calorically dense macronutrient, and so petite should always track them, because it's so easy to go overboard and then end up in a calorie surplus. But for fats in particular, you want to prioritize your omega-3s, your salmon, your whole foods, and get some healthy sources of fat, which will help balance all of your macros. Do not restrict. Do not slash calories aggressively, as I see so many petite women try to do when they're in menopause, because they think they need to eat less and do more restriction. Remember that we're going for recalibration, not restriction. Another important thing you might want to talk with your doctor about at this time is supplementation with calcium and vitamin D3, so that you can support healthy bones. As you get older, especially during perimenopause and menopause, your bone density is going to start decreasing. The way that you can preemptively block this is through strength training, getting enough calcium and vitamin D3, which helps with absorption, and working on keeping your muscles healthy. Petite women in particular are already predisposed to osteoporosis and osteopenia, which is a weakening of the bones. And so now we kind of really need to double down on your bone strength to prevent that weakness as you age. Man, this leaf blower, Like, why they gotta be like that? God. Okay. And this is a big one when it comes to nutrition. Do not kill me for saying this, because I feel like people come at me when I say this, but you already know what I'm gonna say. Alcohol, already not great for fat loss. However, especially in menopause, when we really need to look at the math equation and we really need to dial in and be precise, alcohol is not helping you achieve a leaner midsection. We know it, we just don't like to hear it, but I'll be honest with you, it can sometimes be the difference between you achieving the results that you want to achieve as petite during this time and not. So I would look to reduce your alcohol intake as well if that's something that's been a big part of your lifestyle. And again, during this stage in your life, things just hit harder. So it's like, think about normal, like when you're younger, all these things are true. And as you go through menopause, they just become more pronounced. So alcohol, it can hit harder for petites going through menopause if you're trying to lose weight. What's cool about nutrition is, instead of thinking about food as this punishment or something you have to restrict, I like to think about food as signaling to my hormones how to act, because that's what food does. That's what nutrition does, is it signals, oh my gosh, this fly, you guys. I don't know why I have a fly in my house. Anyways, it signals to your hormones how to behave.
I'm learning to trust my body's hunger cues, because I am eating in a more balanced way. I'm not having like blood sugars, fluctuations dictate my hunger. It's not like a hangry situation. It's more, empty belly. It's been a while.
For petite women going through menopause, the best hormone therapy is strength training. And it's definitely not going to be cardio that's going to help you here.
I've weighed almost 20 pounds less than I do now, and had a hip measurement that was larger than it is now. So like the reconfiguration, and again, it's the power of muscle. And I was in shape, I was doing things, but I just thought apparently the bones of these hips are 38 inches and that's what it's going to be my whole life. And then to see like 36-inch hips, like what? I had to buy all new clothes. It's like, the worst. No, it's been fun. I would not have thought that at 60. I wanted to gain muscle mass because you lose it as you get older. I see my parents in their 80s and what a loss in muscle mass does for just daily functioning. So I wanted to be as independent and strong for as long. And I like the gym. So
I would focus on 2 to 4 full body workouts using strength training, weights, not Pilates, but actually lifting weights, 2 to 4 per week, and focus on compound exercises like squats, rows, and chest press, lunges.
We should talk about cardio because it's not that all cardio is bad, but especially in this season you're in, you don't want to focus on high intensity cardio. You should stick to zone 2 cardio. So think like walking, light jogging, cycling, like light intervals or incline walking. We just want to skip the very super intense high intensity stuff and stick to the cardio that'll help with your heart health, with, aging gracefully, all the good things we want from cardio. A really big, important part that I don't necessarily count as cardio, but it is a form of cardio, is just your steps, just your steps in general. This was something that was huge for Meredith. One of the biggest things she attributed her weight loss to was just getting her overall daily movement slightly up in a non-structured way. I would call this like non-exercise movement, like walks, just standing more, taking breaks from work or sitting, mobility. This type of non-exercise movement will really help your results.
I was lifting 3 times a week, and I was doing Pilates, but primarily like a stretching version of Pilates, not on the reformer, that kind of thing. I would say the biggest thing that has changed for me is that like NEAT level. So like that non-exercise activity, I was either working out at the gym or sitting. And so to now be up to 10,000 steps a day, if not more, I think that's made a huge level just in terms of feeling like consistently more energized. So my energy level is much better.
Oh my God, are you for real? And by the way, the reason why we want to stay away from all the high intensity stuff as petites is because we don't recover as fast and as well from extreme training volume. The goal is to focus on consistency over intensity. On top of that, recovery actually matters more for you now. You need more time to recover and you need better sleep to recover in general. Because we burn less calories overall as petites, we can't out cardio a poor routine or a poor diet, but we can build more muscle that helps burn more calories 24/7. Let's talk about sleep, because a lot of experts attribute sleep to be the foundation of all hormonal balance. And of course, menopause can absolutely wreck your sleep and your sleep quality and your just regular sleep routines. So we need to rebuild your sleep routines through more of a circadian lens, which is your natural rhythm for sleep and waking periods. Huberman recommends this because there's a lot of science behind it and it works. You've probably heard people talking about it, but getting sunlight in your eyes in the first 30 minutes of waking is really going to help with your circadian clock. It's going to help your body know when to wake up, obviously, and train your body to wake up every day, and when to go to sleep at night. And it trains your hormones to know, okay, this is when I release cortisol, and this is when, I release melatonin, and all of those mechanisms happening in your body. Sunlight is going to start the day off and help you set your body up for hormonal success and your circadian rhythm. AKA, it supports your internal clock and it supports your estrogen and cortisol rhythms. He also suggests keeping your lights dim at night and sleeping at a slightly cooler temperature, like 65 to 68 degrees. Definitely try to minimize blue light from your phone and devices before bed. If you can stick to, red lights only, or just minimize screens, that will help a lot. Something that people don't talk about enough is the power of activating your parasympathetic nervous system, which is just a fancy word for relaxation, essentially, and doing this before bed so that your body can really learn and get in the routine of calming down at night. Something that I like to take once in a while that you might want to try is magnesium glycinate, which can just help with feeling at ease and kind of starting off your bedtime routine, feeling not sleepy, but just relaxed. For sure, things like breath work and journaling and meditation, especially yoga nidra meditation, which is for sleep, can really, really help prime you for a better sleep at night. And because we're smaller, sleep deprivation also hits us harder, right? So you can think of it as like our battery is smaller and it's now just getting less charged at night, which is going to impact us the next day. And we want to do what we can to maximize recharging our battery. Next, I want to talk about stress and your lifestyle and how you recover from stress. So you might have heard of the hormone cortisol. This is our stress hormone. Menopause makes cortisol act very differently, and you might be feeling it. In fact, cortisol can spike during menopause, causing weight loss to be just a lot harder. And then of course, if your cortisol is higher, your sleep disturbances might be higher, like you're just randomly waking up in the middle of the night. That can affect your REM cycle. And then we have your sleep disturbances affecting your appetite hormones, your leptin, your ghrelin, and causing you to be over hungry during the daytime. So it's this cascading effect. Again, going back to the sleep tools, I really think just if this is something you're really experiencing, the night sweats or the sleep disturbances, try modifying your bedtime routine and start experimenting. A lot of times we think, oh, I've tried that, or oh, that's not going to work for me. But it's worth revisiting at this time in your life to see what small things you can change, because even just a 1% change could be the difference between you losing weight and not losing weight at this stage, if that is your goal. A lot of petite women will ask me for supplement recommendations, but the thing is, you really just can't supplement your way out of stress, but you can move, eat, and rest your way back into balance again. Of course, because we have smaller systems, stress loads feel proportionately bigger for us. Some evidence shows that small daily resets can really help for us, and that could mean instead of just doing all this relaxation at night, taking 10 minutes out of your day to do a meditation or a non-sleeping rest, a yoga nidra, some gratitude journaling. If you can do that during the daytime, that can also set you up for success at night as well. And you really don't need an hour of meditation. You just need consistency a little bit every day.
I had like a really rough spell with losing my father and my dog, and Coach G was really helpful. And it was really a turning point of realizing I have now really internalized more what is nourishing. So like in a time of trouble, I have a soup that I've made that's healthy for me and balanced. And, like I will eat better then because I know I'm going through a hard time, instead of, the past would be like, oh, I forget to eat, and, then just be like, oh, bowl of cereal, that kind of a thing.
I want to make sure that we're talking about all the things that my petites will talk to me about and really make sure this dialogue is whole and complete. And so I would be remiss if I didn't include some type of dialogue around HRT or hormone replacement therapy. This is an important disclaimer for me. You will see many people talking about this right now online, especially on Huberman, on all sorts of podcasts. A lot of experts are talking about the potential benefits of hormone replacement therapy during this time in your life or a little bit before it. I think science is starting to see a change, because there was this one study in the 90s that linked HRT with higher prevalence of breast cancer, but they are now sort of discrediting this research and saying there wasn't, cause and correlation weren't clear. They're kind of going back and saying, hey, let's look at this because it's proving to be life-changing for some individuals. And so I think you're going to see a larger and larger conversation about HRT, but that's all to say that this does not mean it's right for you. The key for you is personalization at this stage.
It used to be like, do hormone replacement therapy for as short of a time as possible. And now the thinking is the medication is safe enough. There aren't the impacts on cancer rates and bone loss and that kind of thing. So like ramp it up. So I may even start testosterone soon.
If you feel like you've done all the lifestyle modifications, and honestly, Meredith thought that too, but once we started working together, we learned a bunch of things that changed and helped move the needle for her. But if you feel like, you've already made all these nutritional changes, you're being really honest with yourself about that, then go do some lab work, go do some testing, work with a doctor who really understands hormones, and get your estrogen levels tested, progesterone, FHS, your lipid panels. Just get some blood work done if you really want to look at the markers that you maybe could have some control over, or if you did want to consider some type of hormone replacement therapy. Remember, everything is just a tool. There is no shortcut. There is no magic pill. Everything comes with side effects as well. But maybe worth exploring for some. You still need to do all the stuff I talked about in this video. You need to strength train. You need to eat well, but for some it can be very effective if used in the right window. Again, it's all about what's right for you as petite, and over the last 7 years, I've seen hundreds of petite women go through menopause and lose weight following this exact protocol and tailoring it to you, personalizing it to you, and I don't think you necessarily need those things, but you should know what all of your options are, right? You should be an informed petite. If you are in the stage where you want a hormone specific, a petite specific plan to meet you where you're at, you absolutely can feel free to apply to work with us. Me and my team of registered dietitians below will just have a informal 15-minute quick chat and see if we can even help you before we even talk about working together. We want to make sure that we actually can get you a result and that we'd be a good mutual fit. From there, we can help see where do we find a home for you within the ecosystem of Petite Power, or if there's some resource otherwise that we could send your way. So if you want to book a free consult with one of my petite specialists, you can do that below. You can also join my challenge, 75 Petite, which is going to be tailored around the holidays and make sure that you don't have to restrict or do tons of cardio. That might just be like the accountability you need to really stay consistent on some of the things that I've talked to you about in this video. I think overall the thing I want to underscore is that, again, this is not a time for restriction, it's a time for recalibration. Your height is not a disadvantage, it's a superpower, and how can you use science and how can you use a different strategy to see results instead of get stuck where you are. And if you're ready to just start applying what we just talked about, I want to encourage you to look at the last 75 days we have of the year and finish powerful. I think doing it with a group of petite women could not get better. And so Petite 75 is a 75-day accountability challenge where I will be teaching and hosting 3 live accountability workshops. I'll be teaching different things during that time. It's completely free. And the goal is just to literally finish 2025 strong and powerful so you can start 2026 powerful. We do not have to let the next 3 months slow down. We can just keep going and see some amazing results in the next 3 months. Let's make the most of it. I would love to have you in the
So I give really obnoxious, confident energy in the gym for sure. Just to see friends and family of any age really that have physical limitations that are real for them. And so I feel extra grateful that I am pain-free and strong and happy moving in my body.
I would love to hear from our community, other petites in perimenopause that want to contribute to this conversation. Let me know what's been working for you. Let me know if you tried any of these things. Let's help each other out in the comments, and I will see you in our next video.